Peace, family. So I've spent some time away from social media, away from the media at large, away from the news for the most part. But I couldn't help but stay as in tune with headlines, with the world, and the things that are happening, the things that we are being inundated with, the things that despite this detox, this hope to attune to spirit, to source, to nature, to my soul in silence and solitude, there's still always so much noise. There's still almost always so much sadness, pain, murder. And to take time out in hopes to raise my vibration, and as a result to not focus on those sad, painful, murderous things, it seems that they pull you in, they pull you back. And I realized that the reason that I needed this time away was so that I could not feel as angry and as hurt and as scared as I feel when I watch the news and when I pay attention to the fear-mongering and the truth of what is being done to innocent people, to good people, to my people. Everyone has a story. Everyone thinks they're oppressed. Everyone has something that they can complain about. And I'm really trying really hard not to complain and not to be angry and not to be hurt and not to be scared, because my faith and my hope and my love of self and source and humanity is so deep that it doesn't matter, it seems, what is happening in the world. That when I tune in and tap in to the God within, nothing else matters. Everything else seems so surface. But lives are not surface. And lives being taken and stolen and controlled, those things are not surface. So I'm trying to find the balance in all of the wavering emotions, in all of the contradictories that happen from one moment to the next. Being an empath, being someone who feels so deeply. And that is why I do have to protect myself sometimes. That's why I have to retreat sometimes. That's why I'm seemingly jittery and shaking and trying to control my physical right now as I channel and download in this moment. I don't even know if I'll share this, because I am and have been in such an incredibly raw state for over a week now. And I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, despite all of the raindrops, all of the tears shed, and that I shed through this purging, through this detox, and feeling the tears shed by so many, with so much. that is going on. It's deep, it's intense, and seemingly never-ending, and I'm naked before you if I have posted this. It is incredible how much just a little bit of silence and solitude with self, with your soul, with source can do to just realign. You know, I'm all about back to natural. It's more than a brand, it's a lifestyle. It's real to me. It's very real to me, and I share it because I want it to be real for everyone, because it's the only thing that keeps me grounded. In this world where we are uprooted, every chance they get, they uproot us. And we have to stay grounded to elevate. That is the paradox. So I focused on grounding through this new moon, and I elevated. I felt and fell deeply. I dug deep. I swam through shadows and only saw light. But I discovered a lot of imbalances and a lot of boundaries that I have let become infiltrated. And not by anyone or anything in particular. Just because it is. And it is because I allowed it. There's so many things that I discovered anew. A lot that I knew, but sometimes things just, you know? And that happened a lot this week. A lot. But I think the most profound thing that I found again was God tangibly within me. I've always been spiritual. I was raised religious, and I found my own way, because even as a little girl, I always felt like there was something missing or not quite right about the God I was being taught about, and all the rules and obligations and all of the unworthiness and sin that I was apparently born in. It just didn't feel right. Not the God that I knew, not the one that I spoke to every night, every morning, every day, that I sang to. One of the first songs that I wrote were putting melodies to my prayers. I always heard that voice, and it didn't seem to come from the ethers. It seemed to come from me. But then doctrine and dogma makes you feel like that's blasphemous and that you need some intermediary to get you access to the Creator. And then you create this separation between you, yourself, and Source. And this week, it was like a ton of bricks, but the lightest ton of bricks I ever did feel, because it lifted me. And I surrendered to that source in self. And I heard the voice louder and more clear than ever before. So if I do share this, it is only so that you too, I hope, I hope for your sake that you take some time with yourself, for yourself, with your soul, with Source, and find that voice of God within you. Because everywhere else that we can look, we are not getting the depth. And in fact, we are still creating a barrier. There is one Creator, there is one God, and even the words that we use and choose to label are limited. But words and language are all we have. But words and language are all we have when we try to communicate with each other on this human level. But when you are in silence with that one source that is in you, that is in all of us, that reminds us that we are all one and infinite and ever expanding like this universe, you don't need words and you don't need language. And that's when it all makes sense. And that's when you find the answers to all the questions that you ask without needing to ask. I always considered myself a healer because of what I hope to share and what I create. But I realize now that I just facilitate healing. I create these products and I speak these words from my soul because I want to remind you all that you are your own healer and you have your own access and you are God as I am God, because that is how God made us, and it is our birthright, and it is the only way for us to come up out of all of this shit that those that choose inhumanity create, because they choose a God as well. So we all get to decide who and what we worship. And if you worship good and kind and love and light and humanity and nature and community and harmony and peace, then find it in yourself and practice on yourself by loving yourself, by treating yourself better in all of the ways that we ingest diets, whether it's through food, whether it's through social media or the media at large. We have to do better, and we have to start with self and Source, because we are one. I love you, every single one of you, as I love me, as I love God. Love you, especially if you say you love God, because you are God, and God is you. It's time to get back to natural. Time to get back to natural.